small wave.
When my mind gets weary and my eyes get teary, I open my heart and bare my soul. The poetry begins to unfold. As I write or as I type, I capture the rhythm of my life. Happy moments but also pain and strife. Poetry is my water, it's my life, healing to my soul through joy and strife. Absolute beauty unfolds, carrying me into stories untold. It's my life, it's my soul. Poetry, each word a drop, each line a stream, flowing through my hopes and dreams. The healing power takes control, bringing peace to my weary soul.
Hello.
Well, hello, Granny. How you doing?
I'm doing good. We got sunshine over here who just happened to pop on right when we hit go.
That's my hey, Sunshine. How you doing? And hey,
Say hi, pop
everybody.
pop. Can we say hi? Is that say hi? Good job. All right. So give me 1 second. I got one hand over here, one hand over there. The life of a mama. And here we go. Okay, you're all done.
No problem at all. Yes.
Mm.
Welcome, everyone, to season one, episode 6 of the Poetic Clinic with myself, Miss Cheesecake, and the lovely Granny WOWZERS.
Hello.
Hello. It is still Mental Health Awareness Month, and the topic of discussion today is bipolar disorder.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Now Miss Cheesecake has really good information on this, listeners. So you know, we're gonna want if you want to know anything about bipolar or at least experiences of bipolar, make sure you get your people and come watch us on replay, watch us live right now. It's a mental health Monday. I mean, what do you expect? Here we are in the
Exactly.
poetic clinic.
That's right.
So uh we're gonna go ahead and get started. Miss Cheesecake, kick us off in the bipolar world.
Yes. So, bipolar disorder, we're going to be discussing one and two. They are kind of one and the same, but there are a few differences. From my personal experience, I have bipolar 1 disorder. So, I'm going to give y'all some little educational perspectives from my experience as well as some notes that I've taken as well. And we're going to dive off into this thing. Do you have any experiences with what bipolar disorder is like?
I absolutely do. And as a matter of fact, the piece that I wrote for this episode alone kind of dives into a little bit of that. I have, we all know I have 5 children.
Hmm.
4 of them are girls and they're all grown-ups. But my last two, which is really funny that it happens to be the last two of the 4, have bipolar. One is bipolar 1 and one is bipolar 2.
Okay, all
So
right.
I hit all of them. Okay, I went a little overboard, when it came to the bipolar. My bloodline just said, "Hey, we're gonna just give you both." But I definitely have had some serious experiences with it, especially with the depression part,
Yeah.
and and all the things that come with and the manic
Mm.
episodes. I have definitely experienced that with my girls, and yeah, so I'm ready to talk about it because man, when
Oh,
they
it's
were
levels.
teenage girls going through hormones, getting
Oh
ready, and
God.
then you find out they're bipolar, and oh Lord, and then to have the two youngest that in the same household with different ends of the bipolar, yeah,
Ooh-wee. I know that was
I
rough.
I had fun, not, but I had, I had fun. You feel me?
Oh yeah, I'm sure that was real interesting. Hormones acting up and two different bipolar disorders at the same time. Yeah, that was quite fun.
What about you, Miss Cheesecake? I know you've talked about your diagnoses and stuff too, but what experiences do you have with bipolar?
Ooh, so okay, I didn't know I was bipolar until I was about 15 going on 16. Um Throughout life and going through especially like puberty age is when it started to kind of peak for me. I noticed that I was like very high strung, like very emotional and quick to react off of a lot of different things quicker than the average person. And I just thought, maybe I'm just super sensitive. Um, but yeah, once I actually got the diagnosis or whatever, it started to make sense. And then I started to like go through the history of like mental illnesses in the family. My father had bipolar 1. My sister was schizoaffective, which is schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. And I think I have an uncle and two siblings that have it as well, undiagnosed, of course. But I started to kind of like pay attention to like the different mannerisms and the behaviors and stuff. And I'm like, that's me. That's me. And I just went over a little checklist of things and started to do a lot of talk therapy. And it was not easy at first. It really wasn't. I still struggle to this day with it, but it gets easier over time when you start to kind of like know what you're dealing with and be able to like decipher what it is that you're experiencing in the moment and write it down. It's rough.
Right. Yeah, I can imagine. Now, did you, with your bipolar, were you diagnosed?
Yes.
And how did you go about getting the diagnosis? Like, what made you feel like you needed to go see it and find out what the hell is going on?
Okay, so that was actually not up to me. That was not up to me. I was 15. I was in jail at the time. I got in a lot of trouble in my youth. At the earliest age of 10, I think I was on probation. Yeah, 10 years
And
old.
that makes sense. That makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, watchers and listeners, because my child that has the bipolar 1, she got in a lot of trouble too. Her nickname, I nicknamed her Trouble for all the trouble she got into, but I didn't understand until I heard that word, bipolar. So continue, Miss Cheesecake.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was about 10 years old. I think the first charge I caught was being unruly, which I didn't even know that was a thing because I'm a kid. I'm not paying attention to the law. But I started getting into a lot of trouble at home. I didn't really have too much respect for authority figures, no matter who they were. I was very argumentative. I talked back. I had a very sassy attitude. I just thought it was a part of my personality, to be totally honest. But once I hit about 15, got in trouble at school, truancy. And I was arrested. I think I did 90 days in that facility. And then once I was released, it was court ordered for me to go to therapy. In the midst of therapy, like I said, 30 days was what was originally assigned. But as they were talking to me, they was like, okay, got diagnosed with depression. That's the first one. Um, After the 30 days was up, they were like, we want to continue to see you more so because we feel like there's more things that's going on that we need to talk about. So that's when I got my bipolar 1 diagnosis. And from there, I'm confused. Like, what you mean I'm bipolar? I'm fine. They're like, you're fine, but you got some other stuff going on, and we're going to help you
Right.
handle that.
Just a little bit of other stuff, nothing
Just
big.
a little bit. Yeah. In the midst of that though, once I got the diagnosis, like it started to make sense to me. Like I said, like a lot of my behaviors and the way I would communicate with people, I would have the fluctuations of moods. So between the manic and the depressive episodes, I always went through that, but I didn't know that that was a part of bipolar disorder. Some days I would wake up feeling great. I feel like a god. I'm infinite in power, and I'm just ah. And then other days I'm in the bed, wrapped up like a burrito, with the lights off and room darkening curtains with rain sounds, watching Lifetime movies.
Oh,
So,
you sound so much like my daughter. She cannot stand the light. She has
mm-mm.
I still have blackout curtains in Sunshine's room because when she was staying here, she was sharing the room with him. And she left them and she goes, "You can keep them," which I loved. But yeah, she had to have really thick blackout curtains and she cannot sleep with no sound on. It has to be something. So yeah, you sound real familiar to me. Now, I do have a question though.
Mhm.
Did you notice any changes in yourself before they told you you were bipolar? Did you notice a shift and a change with your hormones?
Oh
Because,
yeah.
with my bipolar 1 child, she was this way from day one. I
Mhm.
kid you not. She was a little baby, and people used to make fun of me because they said, "Your baby's mad dogging us." If you always don't know what mad dogging is, just that, you know, giving
Mhm.
that mean face, right? And I'd be like, "She's a baby. She's not doing anything." And sure enough, you look at her, she'd be like, just giving you this evil mad dog stare, like, you know.
Mhm.
And that was her as a baby before she could even sit up. And it just continued from there. And as she got into a toddler, I noticed attitude. She always had this attitude. She was standoffish,
Mhm.
but she didn't like anybody. Like there was nobody that she liked. And when you would give her the same dirty looks back, she'd start laughing. She thought it was hilarious. But she would lock herself in the closet in the hallway because we had another a big apartment. It was really big. And there was a hall closet. She would go play in the closet by herself and close the door. And when we opened it, she'd be like, "I'm playing," and like shut the door. And I'd be like, "I don't know what's wrong with my child. Like I don't understand what's going on." But she didn't get diagnosed until she hit junior high school. And
Okay.
that's where all the trouble began. A lot of
Mhm.
attitude to the teachers and not caring. She did not care. And no matter how nice people were to her, tried to like encourage her to be better, it was, I don't care. So that's when I started noticing the big change. Because
Okay.
before she was still kind of innocent and it was just like something's wrong with this kid. Like she's a little mean. Like I don't know what her problem is, but she's mean and she's got attitude and I don't know how to change it. And spanking, I'm not a big spanker, so
Mhm.
I noticed really with her that it hit her in puberty. So that's
Okay.
why I was asking, did you notice when you hit puberty, did you feel a change in yourself?
Absolutely. Absolutely. What you just got through explaining about your daughter locking herself in the closet, my bedroom and my closet, that was my go-to. If I didn't lock my bedroom door, I locked my closet door because I would go in the closet with a flashlight and I like to read. I would always be with my books or I'd be playing with my toys. And as soon as somebody would come in the room, it was a situation to where I'm ready to fight, argumentative. Early on in youth, like elementary school, like I was overall a pretty good kid. I didn't really get into too much trouble. I was very standoffish, very quiet, and I always had the RBF. So that dog face you talking about, yep, that was me. I would smile when people would speak to me though, but fast forward into junior high, puberty kicked in. Whew, I went from being super quiet and shy to being super outspoken and like what's the word I'm looking for, that strong sense of justice. I didn't like to see
Oh
people
yeah.
picked on.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
My daughter was the same way. And this is just the bipolar one. We haven't even touched bipolar 2 yet.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Mhm.
I mean, you said you were incarcerated at the time. I don't know. Do you call that when they're in little kid
Same
jail? I
thing.
mean, same thing, right? I saved my daughter from going there because they were gonna send her there too, based
Hmm.
off of what she did to her little sister, who is
Okay.
the bipolar too. And
Oh,
yeah, like I said, the last two of the four, I don't know what happened, but they had issues.
that's
I
all
lo-
right.
I love them to death too, but yeah, so she almost went too. So and I have found in a lot of the clients that I deal with that it's kind of a similar thing if they have that bipolar one. A lot of them have
Hmm.
been to juvenile hall or they've been in some sort of trouble.
Hmm.
Do you know why that is?
Mainly because it's a situation to where usually, and it's unfortunate to say this, but usually when it comes to like behavioral issues and preteens and teenagers, especially those that do have bipolar disorder, they don't discover it just yet because most of the time we're not in counseling. I noticed that it's predominantly a black and brown and native thing. Like a lot of us,
Weird.
especially the elder generation, did not believe in therapy. I don't get it. I
Yes.
don't get
So
it.
you know what? It's still kind of that way. I was in I had a little group session earlier this morning, a group clinic session, and the men in there, I get a lot of men.
Hmm.
Believe it, and that was abnormal back in the day. Like men just didn't do therapy. It was not a man thing. It was
Hmm.
really rare. but now it's getting more common, and I'm noticing a shift in some of their aggressiveness,
Yeah.
because now they have an outlet to release what they're going through, which is amazing to me. I mean, I couldn't commend these men hard enough this morning, and I had an entire room of men, and I was the only girl in the room. But
Mm.
it made me feel proud that these, and they're all black men. I was the only non everything, non man, non black. But they were just so encouraging to me. Like, I was really getting teary eyed listening to them talk and just be very open with each other. I rarely had to say anything because they discussed it with each other. Guess what they all had in common though?
What's that?
Bipolar.
Mm.
There was the one and the twos mixed in there. And you could, when they started talking and telling their stories, it was so apparent that, yeah, you're one and you're two,
Mhm.
just based off of the things that they were saying. So
Mhm.
with your diagnosis and everything and coming to find out, how did that work for you? Did your family understand, or was it kind of like, oh, that they don't know what they're talking
Oh
about?
man.
Because you know, some
Mhm.
families, audience out there, some families, they just don't want to believe the diagnoses,
Nope.
and they'll say everything under like, you'll be all right. They don't know what they're talking about. You just need to mature a little bit. You're just going through the teenage stuff. No, it's not. Get
Mm-mm.
your child some help. go,
Absolutely agree with that.
go on, Miss
Um,
Cheesecake.
for me, yeah, when I got the diagnosis, it was like the family, it wasn't too many people that knew about it. Only the people that were in the household with my aunt and her children, and I think my other aunt, and my dad. So my dad, once he found out the diagnosis, he was like, "Well, I'm not really surprised. You got it honest, because we all a little bipolar. Mind you, he's not rested, so he was not formally diagnosed, as well as like a couple of other people in the family. One of my sisters did get diagnosed, but he was basically telling me like, we're all a little moody. But the people in my household, they were like, yeah, that's not real. Bipolar disorder is just an excuse for your behavior.
Mm,
Um,
I hate
yeah.
that one.
hmm That's an excuse. And I started explaining the symptoms, handed them the paperwork because I had plenty of information and all that stuff to show them. Like, look, this is what they said. And they was like, that's just excuses for your behavior. And that's just a situation to where, you're trying to get out of getting in trouble when you need discipline. Because I used to walk around and say things like, I got bad nerves, or that's getting on my nerves. And the elder generation, of course, they would say, you don't have no nerves to get on. You a child. You don't have no feelings. What?
Yeah, you're not valid yet. You're not valid
What?
yet. And again, audience out there, we're talking, if you're under 35, no, probably you're young.
Yeah.
So if you're under like 25, 35, whatever around there and younger, you probably didn't get to hear this part, as a
Mm-mm.
child. But in certain generations, they said things like what Miss Cheesecake was talking about. You don't have feelings. You're not valid yet. When you become
Mm-mm.
an adult, then we'll listen to you. But for right
Mhm.
now, a good little, you're good to go. But that's not the case, right, Miss Cheesecake?
Not the case at all. And I got plenty of that. So for in some households, you have children that don't really have a whole bunch of corporal punishment because a lot of us went through that already. Um, so for me, I got a lot of corporal punishment. Them aggressively. I was getting a lot of that to the point that even at my young age, it started to resonate to me as abuse because even after the spankings, it was never a resolve on what was the problem. It was just, you
Right.
shouldn't have done that and you should have asked for permission instead of really sitting down and talking to me and asking me what made me do that. It was just a situation to where I was supposed to know and follow the rules. A good child is to be seen and not heard. I heard that enough.
Oh, me too. And my other favorite one is, oh, look at her. She's feeling herself. She thinks she's somebody. She's feeling herself. And
Oh,
I remember sitting there going, I just need you to listen.
that's it.
Okay, just listen to me, you
hmm
can yell and scream at me later, but listen to me. And so that's very important, audience. Very, very important. You might not agree with everything your child says. And this is something I had to learn too, because I grew up in the same age as, children are supposed to be quiet and adults know everything. So I did the same to my children and I learned a hard lesson. The
Mm-hmm.
lesson is listen, let them tell you what's going on with them, let them tell you and explain their feelings, and then go accordingly after that. You can disagree with your child, and there's a way to explain to your child why you disagree or whatever the case may be. But listen, you have to at least listen. And I
Mm-hmm.
know that's hard, parents,
Ooh,
but your child and you will benefit from it a lot, and you'll have a lot healthier children just by listening. I
absolutely.
mean, I know, Miss Cheesecake, I feel you.
Oh man, because if we would have had these type of conversations yesteryear, I feel like a lot of the adults today would have had a better outcome just based
Oh,
on
without a doubt.
that.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Listening, like like we all that those of us that have children today that have mental disorders, whether it be bipolar or something else, falling under the neurodivergent umbrella. Because ladies and gents, if y'all didn't know that, that is also under the neurodivergent
She's
umbrella.
right.
um, it is a little bit easier for us to navigate based on the knowledge that we know and technology and how far things have advanced. So yes, it's difficult. Trust me being neurodivergent as well as having bipolar disorder and then having children who also fall under that same umbrella. It's hard, but it really takes a lot of dedication and repetition in order to like ensure that you're hearing your kids out because they little humans at the end of the day. They gonna grow up and become adults. And what you want to do, the best thing you can do is really hear them out and understand their perspective because who else is going to listen? So,
That's so true. And very wise words. Very wise words. So, are we ready to get into some poetry?
absolutely. Let's get
Uh,
into it.
I'm gonna say, producer, can we roll what Miss Cheesecake has? Said she has all this knowledge on bipolar. Can we roll that? I mean, I think we're ready, right?
Absolutely. Bipolar disorder. Let's go.
Let's
Grand
go.
rising, good morning, new day, a new dawning. As I sit here and write, contemplating with this mental I'm spawning, planting seeds or at least trying to of a new life for me. A lot of people don't know what to go off of, what they see based on their own perceptions and ideations of me. I am the epitome of an oxymoron, happiness and sadness in the same dwelling. I am chaos and peace, a truly divine mental masterpiece. I am the sun and the rain. I am the heartache and the pain. I'm everything you want me to be, and sometimes not enough to be perceived. Bipolar disorder. It's not everything that I am, but it's definitely a big part of me. I look deep into the depths of my heart and soul, digging deeply into the sea of memories of what used to be, what I thought was me. Let me break it down for you one time. I could wake up with a smile on my face, happy to take on the world, but deep down inside, I'm a broken little girl, looking for love and passion the way that any average woman would, but not understanding why I care about the things that I should've, would've, and wished I could. My mood switches rapidly like a computer glitches with no controls. Sometimes I barely know what's to unfold. Deep down inside, I just want you to hold me in your arms, maybe even your mind, and understand that I'm on a journey, just simply trying to find what used to be the remnants of me. Let me take you on a journey of what it's like to be in my mind, just a few symptoms of what you would be able to define as bipolar 1 disorder. Some days I'm manic and excited, ready to take on the day, feeling like a god. I'm outside to play. Then I get depressed, aka a depressive episode. Not feeling like myself, not wanting to get out from under the covers. I fold. Succumbing to the chapters of my mind that I would rather not define in the moment as heartache and pain and anxious, melancholy psychosis. I triple focus too heavy, the diagnosis, mixed emotions, rapid cycling. I feel like I'm constantly fighting to be what I thought I used to see. But then again, I have to realize that this is a part of me. One day at a time, each day, I get older. And then having to sit down with this bipolar disorder, up and down like a roller coaster ride. I slip and slide into the galaxy of the depths of my mind. Sometimes I just want to sit back and recline and go over the days of the years, remembering when I used to smile happily with glee and melancholy. I'm learning to control my impulsivity, But at the end of the day, maybe it's just my insecurities. In reality, I'm very much happy to be me, minus the slip ups. And loving me has been so hard to do, especially when I was taught so many different things that weren't true. Mood swings, sadness, elevated mood, anger, anxiety, apathy, apprehension, euphoria, general discontent, guilt, hopelessness, loss of interest or pleasure in activities. When I tell you my truth, this is just the mood. Behavioral, irritability, risk-taking behaviors, disorganized behavior, aggression, agitation, crying, excess desire for sex, aka hypersexuality, hyperactivity, impulsivity, self-harm. Damn, I thought this was just my charm. Cognitive, unwanted thoughts, delusion, lack of concentration, racing thoughts, slowness in activity, also false belief in superiority. I'm not grandiose in my thinking, but I feel like I'm the real authority talking my shit. Psychologically, depressed, manic, agitated, depression, paranoia, difficulty falling asleep, or excessive sleepiness. My whole body is fatigued and restless, weight fluctuating up and down, rapid and frenzied speaking. I talk fast, try to keep up with my sound. One band, one sound. Like I said, it's a lot to dive off into. One day at a time each day, getting older. Deep diving into my mind and what it looks like to deal with bipolar disorder. I'm Miss Cheesecake.
I love that. I love that. Snaps out to you. Snaps out. Um, I love the fact that you're sitting there and explaining what other people are telling you, but you're like, no, 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 it's over here. This is where I'm at. I said, no, this is where I'm at, you know, basically. And it makes sense. And some of the other extensions of the bipolar is delusions. You were talking about delusions and things like that too in your piece. And I've experienced that with my daughter, even still to this day, the one that's bipolar one.
Mhm.
She has her memories and recollections of things that happened growing up is way different than everybody else. But to
Mhm.
her, they're 1,000% accurate, and that's what happened. And nobody could do anything to change her mind. That's what happened. And
Mhm.
so I had to learn as her parent not to correct her anymore, not to sit there and say, that didn't happen. Why are you telling lies? Because to her,
Mhm.
it's not a lie. To her, it's very much real. No matter how many people tell her, there's videos, home videos. Now, you probably experienced some of this, maybe, maybe not, but home videos we have of certain situations that she told a vastly different story to. And
Mm.
that was her memory and her recollection of what happened that day. We showed her a whole video of the whole day. And she goes, why don't I remember it this way?
Mhm.
I really don't remember this. You guys made this video different. And I was like, no, this is how it went down. And
Mhm.
she's like, no, 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 I remember it this way. And she was very angry and went into a manic state.
Mhm.
And trying to bring her back out of that was really, really difficult. We ended up having to take her to the hospital and, put her on a hold for a night because she got really, really in manic state because her memory was so vivid to her. And in being faced with the reality of proof that it was not what she remembered,
Mhm.
it broke her. Have,
Yeah.
have you had any experiences like that? I mean, this is how much I resonated with your piece. You see, I got all that from your piece. Sorry.
Mhm. Oh no, no problem at all. Absolutely. In different situations. So, like when a person that is dealing with bipolar disorder, and I'm using myself for example, um, I can experience something the same way that you're experiencing something, and I have a totally different view. Because everybody, of course, has their own perceptions and view, but at the same time, if I'm in a manic state, a depressive state, or a combination of both, the delusions get to going. It's like a state of psychosis to where there's things that are being added into it or amplified, if you will, that will be added to the scenario. So I might say something and be like, well, this is what happened, XYZ. And you're like, no, that didn't happen. But yes, it did because I was there and I remember X, Y, and Z. And now it turns into a bit of an argument. And it is very hard to debunk all of that, especially if you don't have it. You trying to figure out what the hell is going on with this person.
Yeah,
What are you thinking
it
about?
was really, really crazy for me for a while because I didn't understand. But yeah, you're explaining it perfectly.
Hmm. Um, at the end of the day, it's like when you're dealing with the delusions, because they don't necessarily have to come up in a situation to where you're necessarily triggered. It can just come up based on you having a great day. It's a beautiful sunshine day outside, and I'm sitting on the beach. In my mind, I'm sitting on the beach, but in reality, I'm sitting on my porch. But this is how I envision it. And
Right.
if somebody else was sitting next to me and seeing that, they'd be like, "What are you talking about? You weren't on the beach." To me, I'm at the beach. Leave me be.
Yeah, and if I didn't experience this with my own daughter, I wouldn't had a clue.
Hmm.
I would never have had a clue. And it took my education and getting certified and all that stuff to really understand what was going on. But I took parenting classes and all of that and still didn't get it. So if you don't get it out there, you're not alone.
Absolutely.
That's all I'm
Yes.
saying. You're not alone. But
Yes.
parenting classes and some basic mental health classes do help you understand.
Hmm.
And I think we're getting ready to take a commercial here. The producer was letting me know something about a commercial, so we'll be right back.
Batch of Pearls was created with the wisdom and experience. Like a pearl, takes years to form. It comes from the constant effort and time an oyster puts into changing something painful into a beautiful and bearable outcome. My wisdom comes from time and effort invested in learning from mistakes and turning them into something positive. Pearls teach us to use unavoidable pain to gain insight and create beauty. I'm Dr. Poetry.
When the moon is in the seventh house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, then peace will guide the planets and love will steer the stars. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius.
Aguanile.
Harmony and understanding, sympathy and trust abounding. No more falsehoods and divisions. Golden living dreams of visions. Mystic crystal revelation in the mind's true liberation. That is the age of Aquarius.
Agua fluye, agua fluye. Amor nos une, amor nos une. I'm Dr. Poetry. Luz intensa, esperanza, esperanza. Welcome to the age of Aquarius, where not only water flows, but most of all knowledge flows. We have no other option but to grow. The mind expands, love unites us, and our desire to challenge those ancient lies willingly grows. New ideas shine brightly, and it doesn't always look pretty. But hope is reborn, firm and extensive. All social constructs and false narratives are elegantly torn diligently in this era of change and freedom. Change and freedom.
The age of Aquarius
I'm Dr. Poetry.
feels like my conscience is free. Like knowledge just flows like a current. Intuition, I'm listening. To the universe, I speak. We communicate through energy, and that's what I seek. It's the age of Aquarius. Yes, it's time to be free, to gain knowledge, heal hearts, love, gratitude, unity, light.
Agua fluye. Amor nos une, amor nos une. Luz intensa. Esperanza, esperanza. Agua fluye.
acuario. El agua fluye, fluye. La mente se expande, el amor nos une. Nuevas ideas brillan con luz intensa.
Dr. Poetry.
Welcome to the age of Aquarius. I'm Dr. Poetry. Cheesecake. Make sure you give her a call. Okay. You have your passport. Even though you don't need it, but just in case. You got your summer dress? All right, let's go. Una mujer vestida de amarillo, bailando en la playa, sintiéndome en el brillo, Borinquen me llama y el sol brilla fuerte, mojitos, margaritas, todo lo que se siente. Soy la linda señorita, flores en el cabello, sacudiendo malas vibras, dejando el desvelo. Dejo atrás el trabajo, un descanso merecido en este paraíso, mi espíritu renacido. Bailo el ritmo del mar, mis caderas se mueven, la poesía está en mi alma, está en mi alma, en mi alma. Mis penas se disuelven, el viento acaricia, el sol me abraza y cada paso que doy es esa energía.
But I do see some
Oh,
that were cute.
mm-hmm.
So y'all go check out Badger Pearls. As I'm trying to get my feet right over here. Go check out Badger Pearls and see what's on there. And we also have the Hear Me Out Poetry website. So it's down here rolling, scrolling around the bottom. Go check that out too, because we got merch.
Absolutely.
We got
Check that.
merch. I mean, get your own Granny Wowzers to take home.
Oh, okay,
I'm just saying.
yes.
But yeah, so we're getting deep into the bipolar thing. Now, what other aspects did you learn about your bipolar? Because each bipolar is like a spectrum of things, kind of like, the
Mhm.
spectrum itself. But bipolar is not just one bipolar. It's many things that rolled into yours. So what could, if you don't mind, would you explain what's a part of yours?
Yes. Okay, so for me, what bipolar looks like, bipolar one disorder looks like for me. Um, I can wake up, start off perfectly fine during the day. No type of negativity. I need 2 hours. This is one thing I had to figure out too. This is what let me know. Yeah, you're bipolar. I need 2 hours of wake up time. I can't talk to nobody. I can't look at nobody until I get caffeine in my system. I got to start off with dopamine. Got to listen to my music and just kind of get myself motivated for the day. Um, Once I get that in my system and I start my day, everything is going smoothly. All it takes is for one mishap and that triggers something. Now, either A, I could go off about it, and then again, I might not. I might just hold on to it. I noticed with myself, like, I don't necessarily react initially as much as I used to. Because I've learned to get control over it. I have to like literally process my emotions in the moment, or I'm just gonna go off the deep end. But uh,
Nice.
one one thing that I do know that I struggle with my circadian rhythm, sleeping. If I'm having a manic episode, usually how I can tell I'm getting ready to have a manic episode because it can last for a few days or a few weeks or it depends on the situation. I
Right.
start requiring less and less sleep. I can sleep 3 to 4 hours and go throughout the day. Mind you, I got raccoon panda eyes going on, but I'm great. I'm energized. And then I'll go through a depressive episode and crash out, and I'm tired. I need sleep for like 3 days, not consecutively those 3 days, but I need to catch up on the missed rest because I haven't slept. Elevated mood. I feel really, really good, or I feel really, really bad. I'll either eat a lot or not have an appetite. Things that I enjoy doing, I don't have pleasure in doing them in the moment. Poetry, that's my thing. That's my jam. I love to write, but there are periods to where I'll go through writer's block, or
Yeah.
I'll just be completely disinterested altogether. I don't feel like it today. I don't feel like getting up today. I don't feel like being a mom today. I go through all these different transitions, but of course, I motivate myself to do those things. But sometimes I don't. Um, Yeah, it's a lot. As I go to my notes, because I did document some things about this too, as well as found some information um, online. Mania and hypomania. Uh,
Mm, I know those
mania,
words.
yeah, buddy. Oh, yeah. So, mania and hypomania are different, but they have the same symptoms. Mania is more severe than hypomania. It causes
Hmm.
more noticeable problems at work, school, and social activities, as well as getting along with others. Mania also may cause a break from reality known as psychosis. You may need to stay in a hospital for treatment. And this is what they look like: being much more active, energetic, or agitated than usual, feeling a distorted sense of well being or too self confident, needing much less sleep than usual. I just said that. Being unusually talkative and talking fast, having racing thoughts or jumping quickly from one topic to another, being easy to distract, making poor decisions. For example, you may go on a buying spree, take sexual risk, or make foolish investments. All
Mm.
of them.
So hypersexuality, do you think that's a part of the bipolar as well?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. See, that
Mm.
makes a lot of sense. Um, I'm not putting nobody's business out there, but there was a time where, my child, I would dress her one way at home,
Yep.
and she would sneak clothes in her backpack and change at school. And this is before junior high.
Mm-hmm.
So I was already noticing something was a little different. Now, I'm not saying she was hypersexual, but it's just weird little things like that
That's
that
the
was
start.
happening. And and I did notice it and I was on it. So that's when I started with therapy and things because I figured something happened. I thought maybe she was touched,
Mm-hmm.
something happened and I wanted to know what and she wasn't telling me. So I said, "Well, let me put her in therapy." And this is before I got my education and everything. So I'm just shooting at things, trying to figure it out. But yeah, that was definitely a sign. And, she didn't do anything until after high school, but it was that after high school where just the whole world just went,
Yep.
and yeah, it was definitely a challenging thing, but I can't you can't scold them for these types of behavior because it's I don't want to say it's out of their control because there is some level of control,
Mm-hmm.
but it is a part of the bipolar. So
Mm-hmm.
once you know about bipolar and the things that come with it, it's a little more easier to explain
Absolutely.
and easier to look at your child or an adult that has bipolar a little differently and probably with more respect, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Absolutely agree with that. With bipolar disorder, one thing for guys, you guys that don't know about this, I'm trying to think here. Is it the amygdala or the hippocampus? One of them is smaller and the other one is bigger and it's in the opposition and that's not supposed to be. So there's like a reduced level of dopamine levels which that thrill. You're looking for that. It's kind of like having like an addictive personality. So hypersexuality definitely comes in as one of those factors whether you're sexually active or not. Um,
Right, and hypersexuality doesn't mean that you're having lots of sex. There's
no,
a lot
not
that
at
goes
all.
to that, and it might not ever have any sex, but you
Hmm.
can still be hypersexuality.
Absolutely. You could be dressing provocatively. It could be a situation to where you enjoy the thrill of the chase, being overly flirtatious, putting yourself in harmful situations. Um, and that's just the hypersexuality. And then back to my notes, making poor decisions as far as shopping sprees. That is one area that I struggle in. If I'm upset about something and I've got the funds to blow, I'll check now. I'm more responsible now these days because let's just be honest, the economy is trash. Uh, but in the past, I've definitely struggled with gambling addiction, shopping, me and the UPS drivers, Amazon first name basis. Every time I was getting a package because I was ordering
Oh,
so much from
I'm not
them.
bipolar, but I got that same issue.
Oh yeah, it's a whirlwind of things. Uh, being quick to jump into dangerous situations, especially when you're young in your youth. You really don't have any control over it in your youth because you don't know what it is just yet. So some of these behaviors might come off as the kid not necessarily caring about themselves or the environment or anything, when in reality they're still trying to process what it is they're experiencing because they don't know. So yeah, it's a lot. Mm-mm-mm. Let
It
me see.
really is. It really is. And there's a lot of negativity that comes with the word bipolar.
Mm-hmm.
And bipolar is another word that people use and throw out there incorrectly, like
Mm-hmm.
narcissism. People, you'll hear, oh, hey, you're a narcissist, you're a narcissist.
Mm-hmm.
The other one you'll hear is, oh, she's being bipolar,
Yep.
her bipolar, is bipolar. And it's always a she. You never hear the man being called bipolar.
Wow, isn't
But
that interesting?
but there are a lot of men with that bipolar diagnosis going through the same thing, or
Mm-hmm.
undiagnosed. But
Mm-hmm.
so it is one of those stigma words and ones that just get thrown out without any actual knowledge behind it. And it's sad.
It really is.
You hear that too, right? Like people
Absolutely.
say, or if they find out that you have bipolar, that's the first thing they throw at you, because I've seen
Yep.
them do it to my daughter. Oh, you're acting bipolar,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, that's not nice. That's very rude. You're like, that
Mm-hmm.
has nothing to do with a bipolar. Maybe you were out of line. And
Exactly.
my daughter will laugh and be like, I got this, mom. Trust me, I got this. And I'm like, I know you do, but still, it bothers me, because I feel the same way when talking about narcissism too, though. So don't just
Mm-hmm.
think that it's just bipolar, because I feel it's when it's being misused,
Mm-hmm.
it's not doing anybody justice.
Right. That's true. For myself, I would definitely have to say that it's a situation to where, like, I've heard the stigma. I've experienced the stigma. If I'm upset and it's a situation to where, like I said, I come with a strong sense of justice. If I feel like you're saying or doing something that's wrong, and I don't feel like this is a situation to where I'm being treated fairly, or I might see somebody else experiencing that, I'll call them out, and then immediately the first thing is thrown in my face is the slander. Oh, that's the bipolar coming out. Oh, you're having a mood swing right now. So they use your mental disorder as a way to throw it in your face and gaslight you, potentially. It's crazy.
It really is, and it really, what it boils down to is lack of education.
Hmm.
Because once people actually understand what these disorders and the mental health behaviors and everything that go with it, you won't use these words in a negative way anymore. You might when you're really, really mad, like an F word or F bomb or something, but really and truly, once you understand the full scope of what bipolar is and other things that we discuss on this show, it does change your perspective a little bit. And
Absolutely.
always encourage people. I mean, Google is free.
For
We
real.
use it, but it's really benefits you by taking that little bit of time and learning about a disorder versus just throwing it out there with misinformation.
Absolutely.
I find it very important. I don't know about you, Miss Cheesecake.
For sure. Absolutely. It is very important for you to get uh, documentation. If you don't know what bipolar disorder is, Google is free every day, 24/7. Also, like if you have a child or somebody in your family that has bipolar disorder, start going to their appointments with them or even just sit in for one. You might not necessarily be in the room when they're actually going through the process of interviewing with the therapist, but you can get pamphlets to educate yourself further on what it is that comes with the challenges of having bipolar disorder. And it gives you a better teaching tool on how to navigate communicating with your loved ones, whoever they may be.
Right. And again, there's bipolar 1 and bipolar 2. And
Hmm.
not every person has the same level in their bipolar.
That's right.
You could be manic, you could be mild. It just really depends, but it's definitely worth checking into. Producer, I think I got a poem ready to, if you want to roll that. Then now this gets a little personal, so
That's all
y'all
right.
listen.
All shades of storm by a mother who knows bipolar by name. I've held storms in my arms, not thunder, not rain, But my baby girl's body, limp from the weight of the world she never asked to carry. Eyes rolled back, lips trembling, hyperventilating while the room forgot to breathe. I became the air she needed, the ground she collapsed on, a mother trying to be more than just strong. 4 daughters,
All shades
4 hearts
of
beating with different rhythm.
by a mother who knows bipolar but
2
name.
wired with a storm
I've
inside.
held storms in my arms.
Bipolar,
Not thunder, not
not
rain.
one size fits all.
But my baby
Not a mood
girl's body,
swing,
limp
not an attitude,
from the weight of the world.
but a whole
she never
ocean
asked to
rising,
carry.
falling with no warning.
Eyes rolled back, lips
Bipolar 1.
trembling,
The highs climb
hyperventilating
too high.
while the room forgot to breathe.
Delusions of grandeur, racing
I
thoughts that
became
burn
the
like
air
fire through the night
she
that
needed.
crashes
The
so
ground
deep.
she collapsed on.
You think
A
her
mother
soul cracked
trying
open.
to be more than just
Bipolar 2. When depression drags slowly and heavy, the ups aren't sky high, just a break in the clouds. Hypermania, they call it. As if naming it makes it gentler. It doesn't. Then there's cyclothemia, like a seesaw no one can balance. Mood shifting but never landing, it sneaks in subtle, stays too damn long, never loud enough to scream, but always present. I've lived decades with daughters made of brilliance and battle. Some days I'm the lighthouse, other days I'm the raft. And then there are times where I'm the villain in their story, just trying to keep us all from drowning. I've watched joy turn into panic, dreams freeze in depression, and anxiety wraps up its fingers around the necks of their youth, but still, they rise. Still, I fight beside them, researching meds, negotiating with schools, learning every name for pain they never deserved. People see the bipolar before they see my daughter, my daughters. But I see her. I see them. The artist, the poet, the nurturer, the warrior. They say I'm strong, but it's not about my strength. It isn't about strength at all. This is survival in slow motion. This is what love looks like when it has no time to break. We are not ashamed. We are not broken. We are human, wired differently, yes, but no way less worthy of peace, of understanding, of being held like the world depends on it, because sometimes it does. And I'll keep holding them through every crash, every climb, every silent scream behind a smile, because I'm their mother, and this is how you raise the storm. And still, from childhood to adulthood, still believe in the sunrise, because I am a mother who knows bipolar by name.
That was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful piece, Granny. Granny will be right with us after these messages. I'm going to get into a little bit about some things pertaining to bipolar 1 disorder, but to add on to the poem that we just heard. I like the overlay of the voices because that's literally the experience of what psychosis sounds like for me, as well as many other people that have bipolar disorder. It's like everything is amplified, anyways. So you could have somebody talking to you, somebody else is talking to you, and then it just feels like everything is happening at the same time, high volumes, which will make you crack. You're literally going to have an experience of a blow up, basically. And then everybody's looking at you crazy because all these different things are going on in your head. It's not that you're imagining anything, it's just everything is amplified. And in some cases, with people that do experience psychosis, there are different delusions that come into play that probably are not there. It's just a matter of like really diving in and deciphering what's true and what's not. So, with that being said, we're gonna get into bipolar one disorder. Um, Bipolar 1 disorder is a characterized bipolar disorder is characterized by experiencing both manic and depressive episodes. Manic episodes involve elevated mood, increased energy and activity, often accompanied by impulsive behavior and decreased need for sleep. Depressive episodes involve sadness, loss of interest, and decreased energy. The manic episodes look like this: elevated or irritable mood, feeling euphoric, high, or very, very irritable. So, in some cases, some people think that being manic, it's always a good thing. It could be a combination of the two. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that, oh, I'm feeling godlike today. It could be, I feel great one moment, and on the other hand, I'm not feeling so great. And then the influx of emotions because you don't know which one to decide to choose. So, increased energy and activity, feeling restlessness, having more energy than usual, and engaging in more activities. Decreased need for sleep, feeling energetic despite significantly less than usual, racing thoughts, quickly going from one idea to the next, fast or loud speech, talking quickly or loudly, often with rapidly shifting topics. Example: the piece that you heard earlier of bipolar disorder, it sounded like I was struggling in certain areas of the poetry. I was not. I was having different racing thoughts coming to me at that time. So it wasn't a situation to where I was messing up intentionally. I can't control that. And I wanted to re-record it and did 3 to 4 times, but racing thoughts. That's how that works. Um, where was I at? Inflated self esteem or grandiosity, having an exaggerated sense of self importance or believing you can do anything. Distractibility, I get distracted very easily. Impulsive behavior, having trouble concentrating and easily being distracted. Um, Impulsive behavior, engaging in reckless or risky behaviors such as excessive spending, risky sexual activity, or substance misuse. Done all that. um, Excessive talkativeness, talking a lot or having difficulty staying on topic. And then the psychotic symptoms, in severe cases, may experience delusions, false beliefs or hallucinations, false perceptions. And there's that. And we got Granny back.
Hello. Sorry about that, everybody. Sunshine calls. I got to go.
That's right.
Um, but the video that played that was mine.
Hmm.
Those are my daughters.
They're beautiful.
All of them are my girls. And if you watch the one part of the one girl doing this with like a gun to her throat,
Hmm.
she is the bipolar too.
Hmm.
And with her, she was a happy little girl. And now she's also on the autism spectrum. She's high functioning like me. So,
Hmm.
she's able to live on her own and do everything like everybody else. Um, but with her, I noticed she went from being this happy, beautiful little girl to 13 hit and she shut in.
Yep.
And then she went through the manic states of depression. And those manic states of depression came with panic disorder, came with high anxiety, hyperventilating, to where her whole body went limp. And I put that in my piece, holding my daughter's limp body, because that's literally what happened. At the time we were living in this fourplex, and it's an old Victorian home. So there was a long pantry that's kind of like a whole separate room, but it was
Hmm.
a pantry, and she put herself in there and she hyperventilated to where she passed out,
Ooh.
and I had to call the fire department. I called 911 and I said I can't get to her. I don't know if she's a breathing. I don't know anything. She's not responding. And she passed out was her body was blocking the door. So,
Oh.
and when you hyperventilate and you lose oxygen, you're like solid weight. And
Yeah.
she wasn't even 100. She was like 88 pounds. She wasn't even 90 pounds. She was so tiny. But her dead weight of her body wouldn't allow me to open the door. So the fire department had to take the door off the hinges to get to her.
Mm.
So I'm holding her limp body, not understanding what the hell is going on. Why is this happening to her? And then she went into the state of not only the manic depression state, but she started hearing voices.
Hmm.
And I would tell her, I'm like, what do you mean you're hearing voices? And she would say, these voices are telling me that I shouldn't be here on the earth anymore. So
Hmm.
then came in the suicidal thoughts. And I'm just like, what is going on? I don't know what's going on. Here's my sweet little daughter. She wasn't like the one that called trouble. She was very sweet, very loving, wanting to give the world to everybody. And she didn't understand why people didn't like each other, why there was hate in the world. She didn't understand any of that. She was very, very loving. So to watch her go from that super happy child, always talkative, to just shut in and telling me she's hearing voices now was just like, what's going on? So I take her to go get checked, and I put her on a 5150 hold. That's what they call it at the hospital. It's a
Hmm.
5151 hold. And she was diagnosed with bipolar 2. And I said, well, what's bipolar 2? I just learned bipolar 1. Now you're telling me that there's a 2? Like, what is the 2? you know, I'm a lot more knowledgeable now, audience, but then I had no clue. And a lot of parents go through this. This
That's
is
true.
not, I'm not a rare occurrence. This is stuff that happens.
Hmm.
And again, it's all part of the spectrum as well. So the autism spectrum includes a lot of these things into it as well. But yeah, they told me about bipolar 2. And I learned a thing called let me see if I can do it right. Primothea, something
I
like that.
know what
I'm
you're talking
learning
about.
that word, okay? Don't judge
Hmm.
me on using that word, okay? Some of y'all can't say it either, so don't judge me.
Hmm.
But I learned that word, which is basically the milder form of the bipolar, right?
Hmm.
So she's not always in the manic state, but when she hits manic state, things like that happen. So, I don't know if you know about all of that part too.
I do. I do. So for me, I've never experienced that part. Like, as far as like not constantly being in a manic state. So for mine, the bipolar one, I'm in one, the other, or both.
Okay.
Hmm. So bipolar two, you do get at least a little bit of a break,
Yeah.
even though it's still constantly in the back of your mind and all these different things are happening. I don't get a break of not being in either or. So with the mania, um, like I said before, there's two different types of mania. You have the mania to where you're happy, and then you have the mania where you're kind of like
Right.
both, and then you don't know which way you're going. Is there a way to separate yourself from the disorders? Yes. I do experience those moments to where, okay, I know I'm having an episode. This is what I can do to get out of it. I need to meditate. I need to breathe. I need to do something. So, for that small window of time, I am myself outside of the bipolar disorder. Um, which bipolar one, I think, originally was called manic depressive disorder.
Yes.
Yes. Um, so I do get to experience those breaks a little bit. With bipolar 2, you get a little bit more of leniency when it comes to the episodes, even though they're active. But there's a bigger window of breaks, thankfully. Whew, bless y'all.
People just don't understand the way it swings, and I guess that's where the bipolar comes in because it's really like a seesaw.
Absolutely.
You can balance it out, and then sometimes you're a little up, sometimes you're massively up, and sometimes you're like trying to catch the ground. It just really is a different thing to go through, and then I did notice though with the hormones again, going back to
Hmm.
the children, um, it really is something hard for them
Yes.
to go through. So if
Mhm.
your child has bipolar and you're frustrated, imagine how much 10 times harder it is for them and their frustration of what they don't know what's going on. They're dealing with hormones and now they got this mental health disorder that just like throwing them extra over and everybody's out to get them. Nobody understands them. Nobody gets anything and they feel totally, totally alone.
Hmm.
And, again, to my youngest daughter, with her bipolar 2, she was I had her in cheerleading. I mean, she was just so, so happy. And somewhere when she turned 13, it was just like her hormone balance went way whack.
Hmm.
And she didn't want to do cheerleading anymore. Um, and then of course your monthly visitor that girls get all came at the same time, and
Yep.
that just really whacked her out. And I mean to where she went from a very social, very happy, very bubbly, everybody loved her around. I mean, it was just a complete 380 because she went to not talking to anybody. There was no socializing. She didn't ever wanna leave her room, and when she did, she felt like nobody understood her, nothing.
Hmm.
And then I would catch her sitting, and besides the part where her body goes limp, 'cause that happened a few times. Not where only one time where she got stuck in the closet. After that, we didn't have that closet door no more. But,
Hmm.
there's a lot of times where she hyperventilated so much that she lost the oxygen in her body, and we had to call the ambulance and rush out because they could literally die.
Yes.
They cut the oxygen off of their body. So bipolar can be dangerous to
Hmm.
themselves. You know,
Yes.
people think it's dangerous to other people, but it's really dangerous to themselves because they go in those manic states, and that's where they do these dangerous things or they hyperventilate like she did. But I would catch her in the room sitting on the edge of her bed, and she'd be, telling him, "I don't wanna die. I wanna live," and she'd be in streaming tears, and I'd be like, "Who you
Hmm.
talking to? Of course you wanna live," 'cause I didn't know. I didn't know any better that they would sometimes hear voices, and
Hmm.
that's not schizophrenia. There's a
No.
difference between schizophrenia and bipolar,
Hmm.
and, I would cry and I'd be like, "Don't listen to them. Don't listen to them, baby. Don't listen to them. I want you to stay here with mommy, okay? We're gonna stay here with mommy, please. Don't listen to these voices." And she's like, "But mommy, they're really mad at me and they said I don't belong here anymore. I need to go." And I said, "No, you don't. You're gonna stay right here." And I would yell at the voices and I'd be like, "You leave
Hmm.
my baby alone," thinking, I'm thinking demonic things and stuff, but it's
Hmm.
it's a chemical imbalance. It's a whole thing that goes on with this bipolar, and
Absolutely.
I strongly, strongly urge you audience, learn about it. I mean, all these mental health disorders that we talk about here, the best that you could do is get educated.
Absolutely.
Learn about it, and then when you recognize it in your child, take the appropriate steps to take care of it. Do
Hmm.
not chastise your child. Don't do what granny did, okay? Because I did it.
Please don't.
Don't do what granny did, don't yell at your child and blame them and say that they can fix this because that's the same stuff they used to tell me, so that's the
Same.
same stuff I told my kids. So
Hmm.
once you get educated, you learn the difference between what's really going on and what they can actually control. And
Absolutely.
once you get there, that's when you could start the process of healing. And then Miss Cheesecake, once you learned about yourself, did it not help you to understand what was going on better? And you kind of like learned how to control it a little bit. I'm not
Hmm.
gonna say you're full control because it's really hard, but
Hmm.
you recognize it and you can control it on some certain levels, because that's what happened with my children, both of them.
Absolutely.
Now they're in their 30s. I mean, well, about to be 30. Both the two younger ones are still in their 20s, but they're at that 28, 29, so
They on their
um
way.
but they can recognize it in themselves, and they have their own little routines that they do to regulate and and fix things. um Minus the bipolar one, she's a little harder, but she's come a long way, and I'm still hopeful. So
Oh yeah.
with you, have you noticed a difference after getting that knowledge and learning more about yourself? Did it force you into learning more?
Um. Yes, it did. Now, first, I'll be honest. I was stubborn. One thing that I will say about the differences between bipolar one and bipolar two, the symptoms are similar to a certain degree, but there's a lot more associated with bipolar one,
Yes.
and stubbornness is being one of them. Oh
Yes.
my god, hard headed. I didn't want to believe it.
Oh,
I didn't want to listen to it. I'm like, okay. On one hand, I'm receiving it like, okay, I'm bipolar, all right. And then there were other days to where I was in denial about it. But once I actually like sat down and really took the time to kind of educate myself, um outside of therapy, this is another thing that people seem to forget. When you go to your therapist, your psychologist, your psychiatrist, whoever, yes, you're working in there, but the real work starts at home with self.
right.
You got to do that with you. You have to take those exercises that they're giving you in the office, and you have to actually apply those, as well as find your own. You have to be able to cultivate something on your own to really understand you, because at the end of the day, that's the person you're facing, is
Yeah.
you. So once I did get more information about it, it did get easier. It's not easy to navigate, but it did get easier to kind of like understand my own perceptions, thoughts, and views, as well as others, and how my behavior might be affecting them based on the fact that there's some mental stuff going on here that I can't control. So my interactions have become a lot easier because I like to educate people about my disorder,
I
as
love it.
well as, open, ask me anything. I'm an open book. I will give you what you need to know about me and how to, communicate and stuff like that.
Right. And that's so good. So if you do end up getting a bipolar diagnosis out there, audience, just educate people. As you're learning, you can turn around and teach somebody else. And then be mindful too for when you are having children, if you don't have them yet, or if you do have them and you're starting to see certain things that you're curious about, it doesn't hurt you to have your child tested and find
Hmm.
out what's going on. It may be nothing. It may just be hormones in adolescence. But
Hmm.
I mean, at least and you're
Absolutely.
prepared and you're educated, because if not, your child might be your grandchild.
Hmm.
Then you teach your child about to teach your grandchild, and so forth. This is how we break the chains. This
Absolutely.
this is how we advance in our parenting and just life skills in general,
Hmm.
compared to what we were taught. Because our parents, and myself included, we didn't have this education. We didn't
Nope.
have this, knowledge just freely around where I could click on a video and find out about it, or Google. I didn't have Google.
Nope.
I barely got AOL in the late 90s, 2000s. Okay, so and that was dial up,
Oh
you
God, I
know.
don't miss that.
So yeah, me neither. But these are the things that we didn't have. And
Hmm.
so now you have this information and it's easy and accessible for you to get. So educate yourself. Learn about the real true diagnoses so that you can break the chains that we all grew up in. I mean, my daughters will tell you I'm a way different mama now than I was when they were little, because I didn't know any better. And it's not an excuse, but I really didn't even know what to ask. And
Hmm.
when my daughters were getting these diagnoses and going through these issues, I really said, "I don't know what's going on. Please help me. Help me help my child. I don't know what's wrong. I don't understand. I don't understand why." I mean, that was literally me. Like, I'm yelling at the hospital and the doctors and stuff, going, "I don't understand what's going on. Why is she doing this? Something's wrong. This is not right, right? Like, I'm not crazy. Like, what's wrong with my child? Help me with my child." And because nobody told me.
Hmm.
And if nobody tells you and you don't know what to ask for, how are you supposed to have the information?
Exactly.
So now we're giving you information. So
Mhm.
as you're getting information from poetic clinics on Hear Me Out Poetry, um, please research, learn,
Absolutely.
ask questions, get tested for whatever you don't know what it is. Go get your child evaluated to find out what it is. Get yourself evaluated and find out what's going on, because it's only going to better you and better your life around you and your children's life. I mean, do you feel more benefited from knowing all this information, Miss Cheesecake?
Absolutely. I've learned so much about myself. I've learned so much about other people that I interact with. And at this point, it's so easy to detect, like, oh, okay, you're one and you're
Hmm.
two. I got you. Okay, I know where you at. I know how to get
Right,
on your level. It's a little easier, well, a lot easier now to navigate with the information that I know and the information that I'm still learning. And I love to, be able to receive that same level of feedback from others that are bipolar, or even if you're not, just to be able to have that conversation with people that are knowledgeable about the things that are going on, especially with mental disorders. Love that. That's my favorite.
right. I do
Um,
too.
oh, I got a question.
Oh,
Wait a
go for it.
minute. I
Go
just
for
thought
it.
about that. In reference to your daughters,
Mhm.
that monthly visitor that comes around.
Mm.
Have you heard the term PMDD?
No, I see, and that's a new one. Miss Cheesecake teaches me a lot of stuff here, but I only knew about PMS, and that was something I didn't learn until I was in my
Mm-hmm.
30s.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's another thing we don't talk about. Talk about your monthly visitor. You could say
Mm-hmm.
monthly visitor like I do, or you could just be outright whatever you want to use. I don't like those words. So, but whatever choice, but talk about it. And men, talk about it too, because if
Mm-hmm.
you're planning on having a wife or you're planning on ever having children, you better understand your daughter. You
Mm-hmm.
better understand your
Absolutely.
wife. So,
Absolutely.
definitely no, but please teach me something new, Miss Cheesecake, because I love to learn.
I got you. So we know what PMS is now.
Mhm.
PMDD is usually self-diagnosable, but you can actually go get tested to see if you do have it. There are a few things that they can do, but usually people that are on the autism spectrum, as well as those that are bipolar, because that falls under the umbrella, it's called premenstrual dysphoric disorder, which is
Wow.
PMS times 12. So, in the symptoms of this, it's a severe form of PMS characterized by intense mood disturbances, irritability, and anxiety in the week or two leading up to menstruation. Um, Severe mood disturbances, irritability, anger, anxiety, tension, and the suicidal ideation is amplified during that time. Some women actually go through the full on, process, and then others just have the ideation. But
Right.
usually with people that are under that umbrella, women in particular experience that. And like a lot of women just think, oh my God, I don't know what's going on with me. I'm just so depressed. I'm so sad. And then their cycle comes. And then they're confused, like, what
Mm,
happened to those moods that I was having? What happened to the transitions of me feeling bad? Because now I'm fine.
right. Yeah.
PMDD.
PMDD. Okay. See, you're never too old to learn something new. And even though I don't have that time anymore,
Lucky
it's
you.
still good to know because I do have a granddaughter and I still have four daughters.
Hmm.
And my granddaughter's just starting puberty. Yay. But that is very good to know, and it makes me question if I had that during my time, since I had a really bad one. I
Hmm.
mean, like, I had the heaviness, I had all that stuff. Now, I got tested for bipolarism. That's one thing I don't have,
Okay.
thank God. But my children do. So, it is genetic too. That's another disorder
Hmm.
that is genetic and gets passed down, which people go, how do you get bipolar? Well, somebody else in your family, in your bloodline, your direct bloodline had it, either undiagnosed or diagnosed, and just didn't say anything. My daughter's father, my ex-husband, has it. He's
Hmm.
bipolar 1, same as my daughter I call trouble.
Hmm.
Um, they're so much alike, it's scary. It really is scary. Like, their mannerisms, their psychotic breaks, and everything is just right there on. So I definitely know where where they got it from. But
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to like the PMDD, is that just had you said it PDD or PMD?
PMDD.
I gotta get that. But during those times, yeah, I remember having very weird feelings and mood swings like
Hmm.
that too, to where I thought I was also bipolar because of those swings, but it wasn't. So it probably was that. I just said I'm PMSing bad, man. The
Hmm.
PMS is serious here. And because I knew I started to know it was coming based off of how my mood switched,
Hmm.
based off of how I was feeling. And then sure enough, within a day or two, boom, there it is. I would cry for no reason,
Hmm.
which is another part of bipolar, which
Hmm.
makes me think that I had it because I would cry for no reason at all. I would just sit here and I'd just be like, some wave of sadness would just hit me. And I wouldn't be watching a movie. I wouldn't be interacting with anybody. I'm just sitting here just da da da
Hmm.
da. In full wham wham mode. And then I would get angry at a snap. Like,
Hmm.
just I could be super happy and be like, "What'd you say?"
Yep.
Yeah, and I didn't understand. So I bet you it was that. And
Yes.
I'm like everybody else in the world out there, audience going, PMS. I'm just PMSing. I probably wasn't. I was probably PMDD.
Hmm. PMS and PMDD do fall hand in hand. Because like this is the thing, ladies. Just a little FYI, if y'all did not know this.
Mm,
So when you are going through your ovulation time right before your cycle, and you actually get to your cycle, your testosterone levels are heightened and your estrogen is lowered. You're acting like a
mm,
man. That's what you're doing.
yes.
You're acting like a man. That's what it feels like to transition from that feminine energy to that masculine because you don't know how to process it. Like, what is going on with me? Why do I feel like this?
All of a
With
sudden, I'm pulling up my pants and grabbing my
yeah.
crotch and like, what are you talking about? Who you messing
Hmm.
with?
Just angry for no reason. You're hungry. You eat like a savage. Blemishes all in your face. You don't know what's going.
Oh, I remember it all, and thank God I don't have that issue anymore. I'm
You're so
sorry,
lucky.
ladies, but
You're so lucky. But
I
yeah,
mean, how I got rid of it is not a pleasant thing, and that's not so lucky, but, yeah, I do feel blessed now.
understandable. Understandable.
Yeah,
Oh,
this bipolar is something. I'm
oh, it's
sorry,
later.
were you gonna say something? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, no, you're fine. I was just saying that it is very much layered. So many different
Yeah,
things come with bipolar disorder. You wouldn't even think, like, wait, that's associated with that, and this is associated with
right.
this, and it's all connected. Yes, the depression, the mania, the PMDD is tied into that. Anxiety, the
Oh,
anxiety
yeah.
disorders, and the panic attacks that are associated with it. You could be having a great day, and the next thing you know, you flipping out because a feather landed on you or something. Now you're anxious, and it's just taking you
Yeah.
somewhere else, and you don't even know what's going on.
My youngest daughter, that's the one with the bipolar too. She's,
Hmm.
like I said, very sweet, very calm, very loving, but it will take something really minuscule,
Yep.
and then that's where you see the bipolar come out.
Hmm.
And it's just, like, really quick too, and then you'll see her when she can control it, you'll see her go, and she's
Hmm.
like, "So, we're okay today. We're gonna have a great day." And then you're just like, "What the hell just happened?"
Yep.
Like, you're just like, "What? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I
Like,
need
where
to
did
take
that
a
come
minute."
from?
Yeah. And then she's just like, "What? I'm good." And then
And
you
now
look
you
at her,
confused,
but
like,
but you could see it in her eyes. I will tell you that. Like, you could see it in her eyes that she's not really good.
no,
And this whole happiness, excessive happiness, and the manic state of happiness, you can see it in their eyes that they're not there. They're there, but it's a sadness deep in it. I don't know how to explain it, but if
absolutely.
you look at somebody with bipolar, whether it's one or two, and
Hmm.
they're in a manic state, you can literally see it in their eyes. Their
Hmm.
eyes will tell you when they say eyes are the windows to the soul. They're
That's
not
right.
lying because it's there. Um, it's just it's kind of similar to my seizure. You could
Hmm.
see it in my face. I will go, like a blank slate
Hmm.
or something in my eyes. You'll just see me kinda like I don't know how to explain it. It's just like I'm off.
Disassociated.
Yeah, I'm not connected. And
Mm-hmm.
then I'll come back for seconds at a time, and then next thing you know, I'm in a seizure. So it's very telling, and I've heard other people say the same things about other people with same similar disorders. And with the bipolarism, you can definitely see it. Because
Mm-hmm.
I remember my ex-husband, and he's bipolar one with schizophrenia and personality disorder. Yeah,
Ooh.
he's a whole bunch of fun. He
Ooh.
was a whole lot of fun. Okay, you want to talk
Mm-hmm.
about firecrackers? You don't know which one you're gonna get. But
Mm-hmm.
I could always tell by looking in his eyes too, and I knew when to run
Yeah.
because his was a little different. He went into the violence of the
The
manic
rage.
state. And my daughter is the one I call trouble. She was kind of the same way. She
Mm-hmm.
doesn't always get there. She's a lot more calmer than he is, and she's more controlled, but she can get there too. And you can see it in her eyes, same as him. You look at them, they have a different look of disconnect.
Mm-hmm.
And you won't know what I'm talking about, audience, unless you see it for yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But you will notice it if you pay attention. There's a disconnect. And when they hit that disconnect, it's time to call for help.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking like 911 time, come get help. Try not to call 911, really. Call your crisis response center.
There you
Okay.
go.
Oh, if you have one in your local neighborhood, they might be called something else, but look up your mental health services and see if they have anything that's close to a crisis response center. Here in
Mm-hmm.
California, we have a crisis response center, and you call them first before you call 911, and they send out the proper people who actually know how to handle you and know how to
Mm-hmm.
coax you down and calm you down and so forth. And they don't call 911 unless it's something that they can't control.
Right.
And even then, they still try to help you control and keep you alive. So
Mm-hmm.
that's very important. But yes, you if you see that disconnect, you definitely need to contact some form of help.
Absolutely agree with that.
You know what I'm talking about though, right? With the
Mm-hmm.
disconnect. Have you ever noticed it in yourself? Because I record myself a lot so I can see it,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if you ever seen it in yourself.
Oh, the look, yes. My
Yeah.
eyes, for those that don't know, so naturally our what's the word I'm looking for? Your iris.
Mhm.
It increases and decreases in size. So if I'm getting ready to have a psychotic break, is what they would call it.
Mhm.
That transition of, okay, I'm about to snap. My pupils, not the iris, the pupils will dilate. Thank you. That's it. The pupils will get really big, and I'm not there. I've literally watched myself on camera either before or after I've had a break, and my pupils are huge. And then they'll get really, really small once I'm medicated or something like that, or they'll, go back to being normal. But once they get big, get out my way, please. It's not safe. Go ahead and call them people because it's not going to end well.
Yeah, and it's not that it's something that's very important, audience, for you to learn. They're not doing this on purpose.
No.
This isn't some cold calculus thing that or they're just evil and all that. It has nothing to do with that.
Mm-mm.
It is something when they disconnect. It is something beyond their control.
Yeah.
And that's where you see these cases in courtrooms and stuff where they're all like, they had a mental health episode or a psychic break or and that's how they win these cases or they get placed in a facility versus a prison because it's not something that happens to them all the time. This is a rare occurrence, but when it happens, it's something that they cannot control to a degree. Some can. Some have learned how to control it and get on top of it with medications. I mean, I'm a huge okay. I'm gonna tell y'all CBD, okay, because it's natural. It doesn't do anything to your brain and it
Hmm.
calms you down. But there are medications and things that you can do,
Yes.
and that is definitely one way to go about it. I mean, it's completely natural, nothing. So and because I don't like the other stuff, no
No.
mess with. But and medications, some of them are very harsh. Some are
Hmm.
very harsh. So really find your levels and what works for you and make it work for you. But there are ways of treating it. There are ways of going through things and handling it. Um, but it's very, very important. And really it's your levels. It's levels that you need to control and regulate. And once you learn how to regulate it for yourself, it's pretty manageable.
Hmm.
I haven't noticed anything crazy from Miss Cheesecake. I mean, I don't know. I've known you for a couple years now, and I ain't never seen nothing crazy. I mean, we all pop off now and then, and trust
Of
me, I
course,
can pop
yeah.
off. But there's a difference between popping off and going into a manic state or disconnect. And I haven't seen that with Miss Cheesecake. So, I mean, obviously, you're doing something well. You're educated and things. Can you talk about anything that works for you?
To keep me from going to that space.
Yeah, to help you control it.
Okay, so um it depends. It's like, okay, if something I know is agitating me and I feel myself getting ready to go there, I have to practice my breathing. I do count. I'll meditate within myself. I could still be in the middle of conflict, but I have to kind of like, tune into myself inwardly in order to calm that space down. So in those areas, yes. But if it's a situation to where I get hit out of nowhere, yeah, I don't I'm just here.
Yes.
Whatever happens after that is just there. I actually had an incident yesterday, believe it or not.
Oh,
I was sitting down watching TV and, having a good old time with the family, and everybody was just doing their own thing. And, I'm on my phone a lot. I do a lot of social media, and I'm, just scrolling social media. And I had a relative of mine randomly message me and started cussing me out for no reason. And I'm like, I snapped. There was no control. It was not a pause. There was nothing to calm me down from that moment.
wow.
And I went off the deep end and then I blocked her.
You
I
have
went,
to do it
I
sometimes.
had to. I had to like literally jump out of character, and everybody was looking at me like, what just happened? You were just laughing and watching the movie. And I'm like, oh, I'm fine. They was like, no, you're not fine. What just happened? So I had to explain the situation, and they're looking at me confused, like, why would this person come at you like that? I don't know. I'm minding my business. Haven't talked to this person in years, and they just started cussing me out. But yeah, I went off the deep end. I did realize in the midst of the moment while it was happening, there were moments to where I did want to stop myself. That I can say. People that are bipolar and are in the middle of a rage, it is not a situation to where they're just
Yes.
deliberately doing that just to do it because we want to stop. We're in our heads saying, please stop, please stop, please stop.
Right.
But it's just like
Right.
coming out.
I've heard my daughter say it out loud.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, but it just comes and do you feel panicked inside when it's just coming and you
Yes.
feel yourself losing that control?
Hmm.
Wow.
That level of panic, ew, it's so conflicting because you know a person to be calm and receptive to happiness and all those different things, but once you get into that space, you can feel the anxiety, you can feel the panic, you can feel the disconnect, and you're spewing whatever it is that you're saying, whether it be true or not, but the level of darkness that comes over you in that moment,
Mm.
you cannot control, and it
Yes.
hurts physically. A lot of people don't talk about that. It physically hurts to say things and do things that you normally wouldn't, but you're not in control. So there is a very large level of remorse. A lot of people don't understand that when it comes to bipolar disorder. And it's just like, learn about it, guys. Talk to your bipolar friends and
Yeah.
family. Educate yourself.
There's so much to it in so many levels that you just really we can't tell you everything about it because we don't know everything about it. Each individual person has a different thing that's going on. So, you know, the best thing we can do is say, get educated.
Absolutely.
You have to learn on about it at some level. Um, but yeah, and that's another thing too when you feel like you're out of the control.
Hmm.
I've heard okay, sunshine. He's ready to go to sleep, y'all. But go lay down, baby. And then I heard my daughter yelling at herself while she's yelling at everybody else to
Hmm.
stop. And she's saying her name and she's like, just stop it. Just stop yourself. And she's like yelling at herself while
Mhm.
she's turning around and saying, you this and that.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, um, um,
What just happened here?
yeah. And again, this is before education, you know. Now when she goes in those states, now I can be like, I can say her name and be like, hey, breathe. Look at me. Look
Mhm.
at mommy. Let me help you. You know, and it doesn't always work with everybody. So it could be dangerous. So don't do this with everybody unless you know the person.
Yeah.
Um, but you know, now I can grab her attention and kind of like help her start.
Distract her.
Yeah,
Mhm.
bring her back. And then once that's over, then she's like, she's fine.
Yep.
Nothing's wrong.
Nothing happened.
She's fine.
Mhm.
But yeah, we've been through some things with my girls and I, you know, and it's definitely different, you know. When they tell you when you have more than one child and they tell you each child is different, that's an
Whoa.
understatement.
Night
I
and
mean,
day.
understatement. Because
Night
like
and day.
my first two oldest children who got the corporal punishment and it was I was very strict on them.
Mhm.
Beautiful children, hardly ever gave me any trouble whatsoever. And then
Mhm.
when I was deciding, you know, this corporal punishment, that's actually a bad thing. Let me stop all that. I got the last two who had bipolar one and bipolar two.
Ooh.
So I'm like, not that
So
Spanky would have helped them, then nothing would have helped them because that, you know, my way of growing up just wasn't what you should be doing.
that's true.
But
That's so true.
yeah, so it was very different. And having all girls
Oh
is
God.
another story. So I know
Whew.
I have Sunshine now, but he can, even though he is in the severe end of the autism spectrum, it's still common for a lot of autistics to have multiple disorders. We were talking about that in the other episode, talking about
Mhm.
autism. Multiple disorders can come with the autism spectrum. That's why it's called a spectrum.
It's a wide variety.
Right.
Take your pick.
And bipolar does fit in the
Mhm.
spectrum. That's usually common. So it's only going to benefit you, audience, if you take the time and learn about things because if you don't know, you're going to be like me going, what the hell is going on? I don't understand why, you know. And then if it's somebody you love, it's even more puzzling because you're thinking to yourself, especially if it's your child, I didn't raise them to be this way. Why are they being this way? I didn't show them none of this stuff.
Mhm.
You don't know. You don't know what's going on. And you just gotta roll with the punches.
Absolutely.
You know, because his father's side was two. What are the chances? Two different men, and somehow they're tied to bipolar. What are
Ooh.
my chances, right? Because Sunshine's paternal grandmother has bipolar. And
Oh
she's
my.
definitely a bipolar one. And she has a few other disorders along with it too. So there's strong chances that as he hits puberty, which he's just starting to hit puberty,
Mhm.
that could come into it too. So
Ooh.
fun. And you know, we just gotta learn and navigate through these things because man, have you noticed anything with your children yet? Or have they
Yes.
been the same
So
as well?
both children are neurodivergent. My son has he hasn't been diagnosed with autism yet, but I'm pretty sure he's on the spectrum. His father was bipolar, well, schizoaffective. Schizoaffective disorder runs heavy on his dad's side. Bipolar and schizoaffective runs heavy on my side. My father, sister, and who else? I think my brother. It's a lot of different mental health disorders that run on both sides. So one thing that I definitely have noticed is the increased anger levels, especially in my son. But then again, I also associated with the fact that he's a teenager. I don't necessarily want to just brush it off and be like, "Oh, he's got some problems. Let's put him on meds." Because,
Right.
my daughter definitely showing the signs of, well, she has oppositional defiant disorder. So I'm sure at some point bipolar is going to get added on there at some point later on because she's very moody.
Another new word that Miss Cheesecake taught me. Say that word again.
Oh, oppositional defiant disorder.
Yeah, see, and this is why I love us, because even though, I mean, like, Miss Cheesecake went to school, and I have gone to school and got educated, I still have my books sitting like 5 feet
Hmm.
from me. I'm staring at them right now. I can see the book. But I have all my books from taking my mental health courses and everything to get into psychology and all that stuff. And I still don't know everything.
Me neither.
And many psychologists who got their college degrees and been in practice for a long time still don't know everything.
No, they
But
still learning too.
right, and that's why you have to get recertified and do a lot of loops and everything, every so often you have to be recertified and all that stuff, which a lot of people don't know that either. They think once you graduate, you're done. It's not so.
Not
You
true.
got to go back and take some refresher courses because new things are always coming.
Hmm.
So with bipolar, it's constantly changing. Like you said, she has that disorder I never heard of, but it
Hmm.
makes sense. And now I really think my daughter has it because that's trouble. But and I call her trouble lovingly, people. So don't you
Of
come for me
course.
either. Okay. But that's just what I called her because we had when we were older generation, we had all kinds of names like, and she was always getting in trouble. So I said, "Oh, that's my little troublemaker right there." So her went from troublemaker to just trouble. Even
Hmm.
still, you could go, "Hey, trouble." She'll be like, "Yeah." So it's just a nickname now, but it doesn't mean that she's actual trouble because she's come a long way. But
That's all right.
you know, there's just so many levels to these things that there's no way to put a cap on it and say, "Oh, only this and this is going to happen."
Hmm.
There's so much more to it. And with bipolar, you're definitely gonna get all of that too. So,
Absolutely.
so, producer, do we got? I think I saw somewhere. Did I read that wrong? We have a commercial or another promo coming through.
Let's see. Producer, do we have something? Or if not, we can go into the next piece, which
Oh
is
yeah, I forgot there's another piece. Psh, you see, there goes my brain. And
that's
this
okay.
is where you can tell I'm really a granny. See, I have put right out
Day
my.
by day, I work through so many different trials and tribulations. Things that go in and out of my mind raises so many different sensations. The good, bad, and the ugly, and even the things that are absolutely taken out of context. I'm constantly wrapped in this mental vortex, squeezing my mind so tightly like a corset, head so heavy from my crown, barely holding it up with my neck. Tears at night overflowing into the daylight, constantly praying that I can put this in a better perspective in hindsight. I don't know whether I'm coming or going, constantly in fight or flight, hypervigilance, definitely a second nature, definitely a second sight. My vision is blurry from constantly worrying whether or not I'm gonna make it through the day just based on the compensation that I'm paid. And I'm not taking things out of context, I'm constantly wrapped in a mental vortex. Wishing I could be normal or whatever that may be. Damn. Saying that sounds so formal, unfamiliar, unforeseen. The thought of being completely at peace sounds so serene, and I'm not taking things out of context. I'm just constantly wrapped in a mental vortex. The deafening silence in my mind when I just want to speak. Nonverbal, you can't see me, but I'm out here trying to reach something or someone just to understand my speech. The squeezing of my brain so tight like a corset, heavy on my head, my crown is falling into the pits of this mental vortex. So I've been down in the midst of all the pain and try to lift myself up and try to convince myself not to give up in this fight against me, myself, and I. The powers that be, the ancestral line, trying to keep hope alive. It's a mission and a conquest to lift my head, adjust my crown. Even though it's heavy on my neck, I stand and I begin to protest to escape this mental vortex. I miss cheesecake.
I'm talking with the microphone off. Wow, snaps out to that. Cause yeah, and those images. Can I tell you about them images? Them images of the bed and all that. Yeah, I have flashbacks with my daughter
Hmm.
many, many times, and many, many mental health hospitals and things like that too. So I've been through a lot of facilities, and yeah, I love that piece. The vortex that stuck out in my head. Your
Hmm.
whole word right there. Your wording is great. because I'm like a vortex, and you can visualize it. Even though you're watching the video, you're still visualizing the vortex of what of nothingness that just sucks you in and gives you a bunch of stuff. But
Absolutely. I kept it short. Like I let my sister listen to it. She was like, I feel like you could have went longer. I said, no, I didn't have to. It got
Mhm.
straight to the point because it's really a situation to where that's what it's like to be in the mind of somebody that has bipolar 1 or 2 disorder.
Right.
It's constant. And then the images, those are my moods. One day I'm smiling, like all of them I'm smiling, but it's a mask, it's a facade. It's
Mhm.
I'm native today. This is my persona. I am 1942 lady. Then I got the red hair. My personalities, when I tell you I get to switching up and dyeing my hair, I haven't done that in a while, but those are literally the representations of the
Yeah.
mood switches that bipolar people go through.
Yeah, and it's so true because I kind of use a similar thing with my daughters. Only I use their real pictures, and don't you guys tell on me either because I'll get so mad. But I use their real pictures because you can see the different expressions from when they were
Mhm.
little to different stages of their life where they just where you can see the happy, super happy, and then you can see where they got a little darker and a little more,
Yep.
and it was a lot. I don't know how many pictures I have of these girls where they're just like,
Hmm.
and then and it wasn't because they were mad or crying. They were just like in this funk. I didn't
Yeah.
know how to explain it. To me, it was just a funk. But
Hmm.
yeah, so I love your expression because that was perfect. Perfect explaining.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Great stuff, man. This was really good. Like we got
Absolutely.
a lot of information out there. And again, audience, watch what's scrolling down at the bottom of the screen. You can definitely email us and you could call the phone number that's attached that's down there on this bottom of the screen too. And talk to Dr. Poetry, leave her a message and tell her what you like about what's going on in the show. If you have a suggestion, is there a mental health disorder that we haven't covered yet? I mean, there's a lot of them.
Oh,
And
shoot.
we got more ideas. Don't get us wrong. We got more ideas. But there's anything that you feel that you would like to be discussed, or maybe you want to come on as a guest and tell us something about what's going on in your world, because we don't know everything.
That's
We
true.
learn just like you learn, and maybe you have something we haven't heard of yet.
Hmm.
I love to learn about new stuff. Now I did meet a doctor the other day in another space and time, and I told her you were amazing. Like the way she was describing, we were talking about domestic violence, which is my
Oh,
big time area really. Besides autism, I'm very well versed in domestic violence and behaviors of what happens to the mind when you're going through it and so forth. And she spoke so eloquently about things that I was like, look, I want you on the show because you got a lot of knowledge and you're an actual doctor. So, it would be great to have you on the show. But audience, we want you on the show too.
come on
Like,
down.
come and leave us a message, call the number, tell us something about you. Of course we got a little vetting. We got to vet you a little bit, but
Hmm.
we would love to bring you on and love to talk about what it is that's going on with you and enlighten us, and maybe we can help you too in the same sense. And
Absolutely.
most important thing is mental health is not something to be afraid of.
Hmm.
Not something to be ashamed of because it is a part of you. In this, when you learn about yourself and learn about the diagnosis of your mental health and your mental state, um it only helps you. I keep saying it
Absolutely.
benefits you, but it really does benefit you because now you have answers to all the questions of why.
Hmm.
And I know bipolar has such a negative stigma on it, but it really isn't that negative. I mean, there's a lot that comes to it. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not something
Oh
lightweight.
yeah.
It's definitely not something lightweight, but it's not as negative as it's been perceived to be.
Hmm.
And it's definitely not something you should be ashamed of. It's definitely, if you find out you are bipolar, be like a Miss Cheesecake and just be like, look, I'm bipolar one, and don't get on my bad side. You don't want to trigger me. But that's good though, because you're giving that information to people, so now they understand what's going on when you do have a
Mhm.
state or you do get triggered. It's not like, whoa, where did this come from? What's wrong with Miss Cheesecake? Now they're like, oh, somebody triggered her. Hey, Miss Cheesecake, hey, this, remember when we did this over here?
Mhm.
You might get a I don't care, or
Probably.
but the way you interact, if somebody came to you with the right tone, and people learn this after a while once they know what's really going on, you
Yes.
learn a proper tone that you're attracted to, that helps you to come back
Mhm.
instead of increasing what was happening, right? I mean, there's different things. I'm sure your circle of people in your real life, like what's right there in front of you all the time, they kind of know how to work it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Even your children, right? Your
Oh
children
yeah.
learn you too.
Oh yeah. They definitely are very helpful. Especially if I'm in the midst of having an episode. They know how to talk to me. They, mom, relax. Okay, breathe. Let's have a woosah moment. Okay. And they get me together, or even if I'm not breathing in that moment and I'm just going off the deep end or whatever, they'll come to me in a calm, relaxing voice. Let me just talk to you, or I'll listen to you. Whatever it is that you need me to do in this moment, this is what I'll do. And within 5 to 10 minutes, I'm calm.
Oh, see, I told you. It's better to know than not know. But we have another promo that's ready to roll through about one of our other shows here on Dr. Poetry's Hear Me Out Poetry. Hey, producer, roll that beautiful speed footage.
Tune in, powered by DJ Chip and the Birdhouse DJs. Featuring Birdhouse artists such as Candyman Raw, Rican Worldwide, and Silhouettes. Follow the Birdhouse on Clubhouse and online. Or y'all follow at the Birdhouse website.
Chili chill on the grill, come do what you do. We wildin' in the birdhouse, who's next in the queue? We wildin' in the birdhouse, yo, we always wildin'. We wildin' in the birdhouse, yo, we always wildin'. Chili chill on the grill, come do what you do. We wildin' in the birdhouse, who's next in the queue? We wildin' in the birdhouse, yo, we always wildin'. We wildin' in the birdhouse, yo, we always wildin'. It's your boy Bo, chillin' with the bird gang, and your boy Chili Chill do the damn thing. You can rap, make beats, you can even sing. You can do it all right here on your way to fame. Don't let nobody tell you different. Never give up on your dreams, know that you gifted. You are what the game's missing. Bring everybody in here, come take a listen. The birdhouse is on a mission. Good vibes only, so chill with the sneak dissing. If you independent, throw it up. Chili chill, keep it real, that's what's up. Northwest, east to south. We all doing big in the birdhouse. Chili chill on the grill, come do what you do. We wildin' in the birdhouse, who's next in the queue? We wildin' in the birdhouse, yo, we always wildin'. We wildin' in the birdhouse, yo, we always wildin'. Chili chill on.
I love it. Wilding in the birdhouse. We do what you do. That's my brother right there, DJ Chili Chill. So, audience, if you haven't checked out the DJ Chili Chill show here on Hear Me Out Poetry, because we're not just poetry, not just spoken word and things. We're doing mental health, we're doing music, we got live DJing.
Mhm.
I mean, and we got poetic justice and just a million things. Oh, what in the world is wrong with Puerto Rico? I think did I say it right? I
What
know.
in the drinking?
What in the Barrica? Thank you, because my brain. But these are all shows that you should check out. So just go through them all. Like just go down, look out, hear me out. Dr. Poetry's Hear Me Out Poetry, and scroll through because we got good stuff, man. I
Great
mean,
stuff.
and we still got more stuff coming. We got some more shows coming. We're just getting ready for the lineup, but definitely stay tapped in and follow our YouTube.
Absolutely.
Have you seen our YouTube yet? I mean, it's Dr. Poetry's Hear Me Out Poetry on YouTube. Sometimes things drop that don't get dropped here. You want to go check it out over there.
Mm-hmm.
Hit subscribe, like, leave us a hey, you
Share.
know, whatever, and just reach out to us. We got an Instagram, we got a TikTok. I mean, we're social media. We're here.
We
Or
everywhere. We outside.
catch up. We even got, like we've been talking, we got merch, we got it all. But DJ Chili Chill in the Birdhouse is now a part of Hear Me Out Poetry. So where else you got to go? I mean, the channel's free. What more do you want?
Have a seat.
Take a seat. Laugh at us. I mean, you can laugh at me all day long. I don't mind. I don't know,
Shout
but
out to that. Yes. I feel like we definitely covered a lot today.
yeah, we did.
Bipolar 1 disorder, bipolar 2 disorder, and there's so much more we could have dived off into. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're pressing for time, and I hope
Oh,
y'all enjoyed yourself as much as we did. One thing that I will say before we go is take your mental health very seriously, please.
yes.
If you are bipolar, you know somebody that does have bipolar disorder, be a listening ear, be understanding and receptive to their experience instead of judging it. Um, Also, love yourselves. Love yourselves. Love on yourself enough to actually go out there and get the help. Much
Yeah.
respect to everybody out there. Shout outs. Wait, before I
Yeah.
get to going off the deep end.
Snaps out, and we got one more thing too before, because I forgot. Like Granny's brain is. Hey, blame it on me. I don't care. I know I'm old. I'm gonna blame it on being old. I don't care. But we got on the Birdhouse Radio, part of DJ Chili Chills. There's a whole block of our poetry that just runs through Dr. Poetry's Hear Me Out Poetry going for a whole block at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Birdhouse Radio.
Mhm.
Again, if you're following us on Instagram, following us over there on YouTube and all these places, you'll see the little link that says Birdhouse Radio. Click that link. If you can't find it, email us here. We'll send it to you. DM us on Instagram. We'll send it to you. But
Mhm.
it's a Birdhouse Radio, and at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you will hear an entire block of Dr. Poetry's Hear Me Out Poetry. I mean, it sounds really good in the car.
Amazing. It really does. It really does. Get with us, y'all. Shout out to the Birdhouse Radio, DJ Chili Chill. Shout out to Hear Me Out Poetry and all of the shows and
Mhm.
everything incorporated and coming. Alliance Network. We everywhere. We outside. With that being said, I hope y'all have a blessed night.
Yeah. And for me, snaps out to my brother. Yeah, snaps out to my brother Chuck D and his app, Bring the Noise. You want to go download that. That's an iOS and Android form system. Public Enemies, Chuck D, Flavor Flav, you know these names. Don't act like I'm telling you something new you never heard of. But definitely go check out the app where you can put all your videos up better than TikTok. The atmosphere is better. Sorry, couldn't control it. Um, all of that stuff, great app to go to, and type in New Media Tech LLC and find all the apps that Magic Man has made, because he is the one who also developed Chuck D's app, Bring the Noise. So just go check out these things that we're telling you about. Check out the people we're talking about, and check us out. I mean, we got Poetic Echoes. I mean, Video Box. Come on.
Come on now.
What more you got? We got you every day of the week, just about. Pretty soon we'll have you every day of the week, maybe twice. You never know. Dr. Poetry is a very genius person. I mean, she just put all this stuff together. So we're just here doing the work. you know, Dr. Poetry is got everything for your sensitive, whatever you like, your palate, we got it.
We
And
got
if we ain't got it, drop us an email and let us know what you want.
okay. So we can add some more flavor to that.
Because I'm
Sprinkle,
sure, yeah,
sprinkle.
I would say I'm sure Dr. Poetry could come up with something. I mean,
For sure.
she's just good.
She's good. That girl good. Yes.
But snaps out.
mind gets weary and my eyes get teary, I open my heart and bare my soul. The poetry begins to unfold. As I write or as I type, I capture the rhythm of my life. Happy moments but also pain and strife. Poetry is my